Three, two, one, and we're live. Hi guys, it's me, I'm back on this October 28th. It's a Wednesday, 2020. Aren't you happy? We're getting there. 2 more months. Oh, okay, we still haven't gotten through October, but 2 more months and 2020 is coming to an end. I have to tell you, there's a lot going on. So let's see if we can get into these energies quickly. I'm feeling them powerful. There's a cosmic situation that's happening. So we're going to talk astrology for a few minutes just to give you an understanding of why you're feeling the way you're feeling, confusion, exhaustion, overwhelm, everything that's happening around the world today, guys. It's for real. Some deep, heavy stuff going on, some heavy energies. On Saturday around 10:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you have to adjust that for your time zone. The situation will be the second full moon for October 31. So we had a full moon at the beginning of this month on the 3rd of October. Now we're back at another full moon. And this one is called All Hallows Eve. Ooh. The last time we had 2 full moons in October was back in 1944. Actually, I think the full moon we had, the last one, was actually on the 4th. So there's those 4s. So stability, all of the stuff that's happening right now is happening so we can get to a stable 2021. We're in a new energy of shifts. You know, legend talks about Halloween. So the 31st here in the United States, we practice the Halloween, where you go out, you dress up in a costume, and kids go trick-or-treating. Adults have major parties. They get to dress up and, play different characters and make fun out of the day. But history is about when this time of year, when the harvest, the first moon was harvest. So we're harvesting, we're preparing ourselves for winter. So the layer between the spirit world and the energies here in the 3D world, or what we call the lower worlds, become a very thin veil. And, and you see these movies, they have Walking Dead, all these, types of figures start to come from the ground. So they dressed up. The thought was to dress up in a costume that would confuse those lower world spirits that came to walk upon our earth so that they would go past you or pass over you. It's sort of like the story in the biblical Bible where they talk about where Moses said, if you don't let my people go, tragedy is going to happen. So the king ordered for all the firstborns to be killed. And so they were told to kill a pure lamb, take the blood, mark it over the doorway. And then that way, whatever horror or meanness or, something that's coming from the energy of the underworld, you would be passed over. So right now, guys, this is where we are. We are in this moon that's coming. It's going to be real close to the earth. It's called the blue moon. The first moon this month was called the harvest. This is called the blue. Although it may not look blue, it may just look like a big old bright ball of white light from where you live or where you see the moon at. But it is called the blue moon because the sky has like this haunting about it. So astrology wise, we have Mercury in retrograde. Mercury will be in retrograde until the 4th, the 3rd, the 4th, it will be moving forward. So I hope we don't have any disruptions here with this video because remember, Mercury rules electronics, all the things that have to do with your computer, driving. So be careful when you're moving around until the 3rd. And, Mercury has been here for all month in retrograde. So if you've been having those unclear thinking thoughts or your electronics have been, a little wacky, a little challenging, that is why. We also have Mars ending its retrograde. Remember, we've been talking about Mars and how Mars has been here. And this is why 2020 has been very challenging, because these planets are close to the earth and aligning in ways they haven't been in any time any of us that are probably living today has been in this energy of this time. So we didn't experience the last time this kind of havoc or this kind of shift or this change happened on the earth, but we sure are living to tell the story of the 2020 shift. So when we talk about Uranus in Aquarius, that means electricity, our nervous system, our emotions, unexpected change, but it's what we need and it's what is to happen. So last time we've been talking about, have you been purging? Have you been getting rid of? Have you been clearing out? So now is the time. Remember I said, this is the month where your future starts to be revealed. So as we're coming into the end of this month, if you haven't done that purging, that cleaning out, that moving away, fate will step in if it hasn't already stepped into your life. But by the 14th of when Mars ends its retrograde and it start moving forward in November, those changes will be very, very clear. What you haven't done, remember, it is going to happen. It's going to come to an end. And that could be relationships, that could be career path, work path, whatever challenges we have been facing since the beginning of this month, like coronavirus. The storms are raging, fires are still raging, and all of that is because of these planets. So let's talk about the water. We know the fire has been about Mars. So let's talk about Pluto. Pluto rules Scorpio. We are in a Scorpio zodiac astrology month. And that's going to take us right into November. And Scorpio, so if we think about the astrology sign of Scorpio, we're talking about loyalty. Scorpions are also seductive, sexual beings. They're powerful, they're demanding. They could also be very controlling. So when we think about water, the underworld that Scorpio, Pluto rules, and this full moon, because the moon also governs the water, and it's a feminine energy that controls our emotions and our nervous system every 29 days when it comes into fullness. Well, this year is even more special because we've had 2 full moons the month of October in the sign of Scorpio. So Hades, and if you guys watched those videos where I called them the tarot arcana, meaning the secrets of the tarot, and those videos that last less than 2 minutes, it breaks down the major arcana of the tarot, which we've been using these cards as a visual view into explaining, and not so much predicting, but explaining why we are where we are, what's happening around us, so we can make better choices and decisions. And if you understand what's happening, because we are beings that are stars. So that means if we are made up of stars and water, we are also a part of the planets. So the planets affects us. So Hades, if we talk about Hades, Hades is the god or the Greek mythological figure who rules the underworld and the water. So, but Hades was passion. He was loyal. He cared for the underground. He took care of the underground. And so right now, that is what we're feeling. And these cards are going to help me explain that just a little more deeper. Saturn, I've been telling you guys about Father Saturn has been here as well. It's an earth sign along with Taurus. They are earth signs. Right now, Taurus is in the moon. So that means right now with this full moon, this is also giving us an opportunity to bring in for the winter months. Winter is coming. Food is like the harvest, money, everything you're going to need to help you get through the winter. Scorpio, Hades, will kill off what you won't need to get through the winter. So you're going to lose some things, even though it may feel tragic, but it's setting you up and preparing you for 2021 when that movie starts to roll. So change, do we make change? Or do we allow fate to step in and make that change for us? It's up to you. We also have Mercury in retrograde. Remember I said that's unclear thinking, not sure what to do, being confused, like Gemini, the two twins. We're kind of, what should I do? I'm not sure what to do. So this is also a good time to make those expressions of the Lovers. So our first card here is the Lovers. And the Lovers card, let's see if I can get that light to so you can really see this card. The Lovers. So the Lovers are here. So if we're talking about an energy where connections, closeness are paramount right now, like I said, Scorpio has that element of sexuality, that energy of love, that energy of intimacy, our desires, our pleasures, our feelings. So with the Lovers being here, we're talking about it's the center of, see this, the center of these two lovers who are about to embrace. They are not yet kissing because Cupid's arrow is running right through the middle of them here. Then it's the arrow or the sword. You could call it also a sword, but it's more Cupid because you see the heart here. So it's Cupid's arrow. Again, Greek mythology. You see how the sword is piercing into the tree of life. This is the symbol of the Garden of Eden. So if this is the symbol of Garden of Eden, we're looking at Adam and Eve, the first two lovers, and they are looking into each other's soul with their eyes closed. Their heads are shaped as wings, and they make up one. They become one when you put the two wings together. You have a duality of love. And so they are in the image of what and where we are right now with, like I said, Mercury. When Mercury starts to move forward, we want to make sure that we are communicating, because love isn't always just about intimacy. It's also about family. It's also about friendship. So in this card, the the Garden of Eden also is symbolizing the serpent there, where the serpent is wrapped in the tree, where these two are as if they're not even aware of his existence because they're so wrapped into their love of one another. So when we're talking about union, connections, this is a time to enjoy this opposites of relationships, this intimacy, this love, because when this confusion or, how we right now, I said, we are struggling maybe with what decisions, that final decisions that have to be made in order, or it's going to happen for us. So sometimes when you're making the choices, you have to think about it as a way of saying, what is the choice between? Is the choice between love and hate? Is the choice between vice and virtue? What is the choice? So if we know what our hearts and our minds, if our heart and our mind is in sync with one another, then we are in sync with life. So our next card we'll go right into is the Five of Wands. Fives are changes. The Lover's card is the number 6. 6 is perseverance. So with that energy, we want to make sure that we're persevering in these relationships that must go. And when we say relationships, again, they're not all human. They're not just between people, but they could be relationships between where you live, relationships to the kind of car you drive. Maybe it's time to get a new car, or a career change. So fives, changes. We're still in these energies of changes. And again, purging. So now that the Five of Wands, so if you look at this card, it has 5 individuals that appear to be fighting one another. And they're wrapped in this tree. Again, the tree of life. We all right now are in this energy of earth, the roots that sustain us. So unshakable stability. It's changing and directing us in the cosmic universe as a world, as a planet, as a human race. These changes must occur. So this card they're all fighting. There's a lot of fighting. And if you look, it doesn't take long if you turn on the news. We're in the middle of an election race here in the United States. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of fighting happening all around us. That's why I said these energies right now are super cosmic right now. These planets and everything that's happening on Earth, it's happening for a purpose. There's a divine purpose, and divineness is in charge. But we, as humans, our energy is causing us to bicker, to disagree, to not find, like I said, with the Lovers, there's a choice. We choose to love. We choose to hate. So which are you going to share like the Lovers, persevere like the Lovers, no matter what comes between you, like Cupid's arrow went between them just before they kissed, that is trying to conquer and divide and control, like the serpent in the tree. The arrow went down into the forbidden apple, the arrow which is attaching the snake to conquer and divide. We do not want to be divided. We do not want conflicted feelings, because those feuds or those cruel battles, brother against brother. So this card is symbolizing that brother against brother, they're using the same weapons, the swords, the wands that are made from this tree. They're using the tree, the gifts of the tree, to conquer and divide and hurt each other, to create violence, aggression, hostility. So in order for us to, it's just to take this battle and not give it wings, to rise to the occasion. Because if you rise to the occasion right now, guys, and pass this test from the tree of life, of hatred and love, and you choose love, the gifts are just, you can't even imagine or dream what's waiting on the other side, because we can only have one ruler at a time, and someone will lose, someone will win, and someone will die. And so hate, generally, love conquers hate. Our next card, again, it's a 5. And we are in this energy of coins. So when we're looking at coins, this 5 of coins, you see the woman in this card. She looks like a beggar. She has her cup out and she's begging for, it's like we have a lot of homelessness. I went to Sacramento last week. And Sacramento is really the capital of California. For those of you who don't live in the United States, you may not understand that California is a huge state here in the U.S. Sacramento, you may have heard of Los Angeles because of the celebrities in Hollywood. You may have heard of San Francisco, the Bay, because of a lot of our political leaders represent or come from Nancy Pelosi is from San Francisco. So you may have heard of San Francisco, but not of Sacramento, which is the the capital of Los Angeles. And San Francisco is, where a lot of people also go to travel because it's on the bay. It's absolutely beautiful. Sacramento is different. Sacramento is where the power of legislator for California, where the governor is, the governor's mansion is. And so when you are in Sacramento, at least before the virus hit, Sacramento was filled with homelessness. And you would see these, not that the United States don't have homelessness throughout, but California is beautiful, warm weather. Sacramento doesn't get as hot as some of the other because it sits where you get more of a cool breeze. It's more north. And so you don't have as hot temperatures, but you don't have the cold temperatures that you would have in the Midwest or over where, snow. You can have snow there, but it wouldn't last and it's not as cold. So it's not going to be, it's rare. So when you look at this card and she's begging, and I'm using this as an example. When I went to Sacramento used to have homelessness around right in the heart of the city. Well, last week when I went, the homeless was gone and everything was boarded up because they are getting ready for what could be a lot of aggression that they're expecting on November 3rd. And remember, November 3rd, Mercury will retreat from retrograde and start to move forward. So around that time, yes, election time, that is set with between Mars and Mercury to really have a lot going on. And people aren't thinking clearly. So with this beggar here, with that beautiful, beautiful stained glass, with those beautiful coins lighting up and those beautiful flowers of hope around the top of her head, is saying, even though right now things are going to get scarce, things are going to be barren, because people are going to be harvesting and hiding and collecting. For example, when coronavirus first started, people were hoarding toilet paper. So there may be some hoarding going on. People are preparing for the worst winter because of everything that's happening, and it's happening in an election year. You can't make this stuff up. That this disheveledness that we all are experiencing right now. But remember, even with the disheveledness, and maybe even our cups appear to be bare, if your harvest, guys, has bared some fruit that you, in the beginning of this year, you took advantage of understanding, if you've been on this path with me, you have been prepared. We've been talking about what we need to do to get through 2020. If you're just finding our video, our circle, our healing circle, then the timing for you is now, because come November 14th is when we're going to come to some kind of major obstacle. You have to be prepared, guys. So this card, again, changes the 5. This card, and I told you I love this deck. I love this deck, and I should have mentioned it at the beginning. It's by Cyril Machete. It's the Gateway to the Divine Tarot. These cards are very divine. And in the book, he has this poem that I think it kind of sums up what this bearing, harvesting, preparing for the coldest winter means. People are like stained glass windows, like this beautiful, beautiful stained glass window filled with these beautiful coins. They sparkle and shine when the sun is out. But when the darkness sets in, their true beauty is revealed only if there is a light from within. And that is a beautiful, beautiful quote. And I will put it in the video, in the description below, if you want to read it again or have it to hang on to when it appears that the light has come to darkness, especially over the next 2 weeks and a half. That is by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Our next card is the Emperor, which is amazing. The timing for the Emperor to be here, which is again another major arcana card. The Emperor is a 4. The Emperor is a powerful, powerful leader. The Emperor means leadership. The Emperor, again, if you go and look at the Emperor card that I did for the Tarot Arcana, the Tarot Secrets, you will see the pictures or the depiction or the symbol of the ram, which is Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And just like the ram, Aries is very, very powerful, determined. Once Aries, if you ever seen like on the Animal Channel where there's two rams. Oh, I have a better example. So you have the two rams in the car commercial. There's a car like Ram truck. There's a company that makes the, I think it's Chevy or GM, not sure. But they have the truck and these two rams, run into and lock horns with each other because that's how they knock each other out. And whoever wins, is the leader hands down. And that's why I said we can only have one emperor, one king, one leader at a time. Because when you have multiple, kings, for example, in the Bible, spiritually, divinely, there's only one God. Even though in mythology they talk about gods and goddesses, it's still only one God. And that God, that one God, is the supreme ruler. And that one ruler is masculine power. It's a masculine energy. And we're not talking about male or female. We're talking about energy. And so that supreme power sets order. This emperor is a born leader, authoritative, responsible, wise. In this card, again, you have that stained glass, that light, meaning that this emperor is being guided by that divine light. If you see his kingdom is represented by these pillars, and then he has the pillars that surrounds him, which is his court. And so there's one emperor who rules at one time. When you do not have divine authority, you have chaos. When you do not have divine authority, you have dictatorship. You have ruthlessness. You have jealousy. You have rivalry. You have dysfunction. A kingdom cannot have prosperity and growth unless it has one ruler. When you have, or you've heard the saying, Indian chief, when you have everybody is the chief and there's no Indians, nothing gets done. Things get done and we all prosper when we have an understanding of divineness in one emperor at a time. And so this is where we are. This is what's happening. This shift that is taking place on a cosmic level in a huge, huge, huge disruption to the way we've been living, because it's saying it's time to correct the path that we humans have been traveling on, and that one God is taking control and putting us back on track. And as we get set straight, some of us, God willing, you don't contract the coronavirus or any virus that is deadly to you, or if you contract it and you heal, you survive. And one of the ways to do that is to take care of yourself. I heard, I went to the doctor, to make sure before I started traveling and moving around again, that my immune system would be strong enough to manage whatever hit me or whatever came my way, or if the corona chased me down and caught me, that I would be able to fight it, because I took vitamin D, I took vitamin C, I exercised, I tried to eat healthy, and our next card is death. So I have to allow, and I have been, which has been very, very hard, guys, and I know it's been hard for you too, to allow what no longer serves you. And again, October 31st, on that full moon, the moon is about secrets. So whatever that is hidden, even if you cannot see it, what's happening within you or around you is dying off. It's shedding a new skin. And when our body is filled with illness or history of our biology, of what has happened to us in our time here on earth, then we die a permanent death from this world. And we live again in another world. But if we are meant to survive this moment, this 2020, having the vision to see what is happening around us, what is happening within us, so that we can allow it to have a transformative death. So this card has a spider here, and it has this scorpion there. Remember earlier in the beginning, we talked about Pluto, and Scorpio is the sign of the astrology. What we are in sun time, the sun sign and the moon sign. Right now, the sun sign, the months, we are in a scorpion energy. And so scorpions are deadly creatures. And so is the black widow. And so this also is a sign for Pluto, where you have this dark horseman who rides. And we also have the number 13, which brings us to 4. And 4 brings us to stability. We have to have a death in order to transform. And when we transform, that brings about stability in our lives. And so it's symbolized by the rebirth of this beautiful white flower in the midst of all of this death or dying off. So right now, it's letting go. Let death take our ego away and give us a renewal. A new ending is about to regenerate or generate a rebirth. So I'm going to say that again, guys. Okay? In death, right now, with Pluto here and Scorpio at the same time, we're in a transformation that will regenerate a rebirth. So the rebirth is happening on our level of our world. Everything in consciousness in 2020 view is happening as a rebirth, a dying off, so that we can come into a new birth. So the card that came out from the Oracle of the 7 Energies is called Close Encounter. And this card is a number 10. And 10s, we say, is completion. It's come to an end. It's come to a death, so a beginning. So if we take the number down to a number 1, is new beginnings. And new beginnings, this card, the energy of the crystals that came out in my, as like I said, I shuffled these cards earlier for time's sake, so the video won't be way over an hour. Try to keep them under an hour. But the energy that came out, which is orange, the color or the crystal of orange, or the time of the year. If you look outside, we have fall leaves. The fall is here, and the leaves are falling, and they're orange and they're yellow. They are sitting in our energy of our womb or our sacral chakra, which is water, which is sexuality, intimacy, desires, pleasures, unconditional joy. And so I also am doing a video or podcast for another meditation for the full moon on the 31st. So if you want to have that energy to help you see clearly, come into clarity, practice that full moon video or podcast because it's set to help clear up and open up these energies in our womb, in our tree of life. We think of us too as a tree of life. We have our roots that move all the way up to our branches, to our treetop. And so as we have a close encounter, or you see the cage with the butterflies, these butterflies are also a symbol of renewal or rebirth, or how a caterpillar come from being just a wormy worm with a bunch of little legs to this beautiful, beautiful butterfly. So the close encounter is that we are vulnerable right now. And we need to allow our vulnerabilities to let others see our wounds as well as our strengths right now, because that's the only way you have to, and only way you're going to become a butterfly. You have to have that close encounter. Like I said, the lovers, it goes right back to every single one of these cards. So having that close encounter to make you whole. You see how the two wings make a bird or a butterfly, that the two flies together, even though they are being divided down through between their lips before they touch. Cupid's arrow has tried to separate them, but you cannot be separated when faith steps in, when divineness steps in, when divine timing steps in, when divine says you will have a close encounter with your future, what's to come, who's to be in your life. We talked about before twin flames, and twin flames are like the lovers, or they share. So think of a flame of a fire, the flame of a fire. Twins, that's why they say flames, because it's that heat, that passion, that energy, that intimacy of orange. Now is the time to have that close encounter, whether it's in your dreams. I know some of you are looking for your soulmate or looking for your twin flame. This is also the time of year with this moon on the 31st, and I will constantly and urge you about meditating and learning to just sit. Now I'm going to have 3 videos that help you do that, because if you learn to meditate in prayer, divine will show you, will give you your destiny, your future. And if you haven't met the love of your life's partner, this is the time to make sure your energies are in balance so that the two of you can make your way to each other in heart. And know your twin flame. This is the time for it to be apparent who that is, what that is. Twin flames, like I said, they're part of the same fire. They burn in the same energy. So when Mars comes forward after the, when did I say? Mars is, Mercury is on the 3rd. So on the 14th of November. That is going to be a very powerful time. And I will be doing another video in order for us to see where we are with those. And I'm going to do a twin flame video on that time, because that is, along with something cosmic, not so great, whether it's a war or some kind of fighting or some kind of reset to our world, will take its toll. We also will come and regenerate love, because love will conquer hate. That's the best way to put it, is on November 14th, around that time, hate is going to be abound. But love, the twin flame energy, is very important for that time, for love to conquer hate. So there will be reunions. Okay, let's see where our major players, which is, which card came first? Which is our Oracle Mystical Shaman cards. So our first card, oh my goodness. Okay, guys, I have to stop for a second and go back a minute. So out of our divine cards, we have 5 cards. Within our divine cards, we also had 2 5s. So we have 3 5s here. And so 5s are changes. Changes. There's no way around it. We must persevere these changes. Our first card is the drum. So I love this card. You see this card? It's beautiful. So the rhythm of the drum, guys, is just the beating heart of the universe. It is that sound. If you are in flow with the universe and God, if you are spending that time with spirit in that one-on-one love affair with God, you will travel, so to say, to a different beat of the drum, because your rhythm is not a mold that fits into any role or any relationship. This rhythm will find you. It's like you hear a distant heartbeat. It's like I've had dreams where I was woken by this faint sound or music, or this like a calling. And when you reach that higher plane of understanding or are hearing that call of the rumbling of the earth, or that, it's like that is where the drum takes you into, or the sound of the drum really moves you into a trance. And that's where healing begins. And that's where understanding of prophecy begins. What's happening all around us. So when I get ready to do these videos, it takes me time to move into this energy and this spirit. I have to go into a trance or a meditation so I could move myself out of the way, my ego. And then that way, that's when the magic begins. And I can't make this stuff up, guys, because when I look at what's happening and how everything starts to blend together, how the cards come out and how they come to life, they take on like a spirit or a life of its own where, like, for example, these cards were being rested, and I forgot to share this, with the energy Reiki stone or crystal. And the palm of the hand is the symbol for energy, prana. And the cards were resting on this beautiful, beautiful crystal. Beautiful, beautiful crystal. I can't make this up. As well as this stone was resting on our divine cards. And so as the cards unfolded, they are all within that color. Can you see it? They all have that fallness, that oranges, reds, yellows, which sits down in our womb. It sits down in our womb of life. And so as we move forward through these energies, this death, this like fall, fall is here. The leaves are falling. They're dying off the tree. So if we are that symbolism, that stature of how the trees are here on earth, we go through the season as well. And so I can't make up the season. The season is here. So as we die off, transform, regenerate, as we move into a new period in our as of humanity here on earth, the change has to occur. It has to happen. So as this season, this whole year of 2020, as the seasons has changed, we have changed along with it. So the next season after fall comes winter. Everything will go dormant. So in fall is harvest. In fall is the time where we need to release what in our life that needs to be released. So the Jaguar is here. New beginnings. So the Jaguar is asking the question, what have you carried around with you far too long? What is ready to be let go for once and for all? And that is happening, guys, starting on October 31st on that full moon. And so I do suggest it doesn't have to be my meditation for the full moon, but please do someone's meditation for a full moon, what is called a full moon meditation, to help you get into the right relationship from those toxic relationships and recover your natural instinct like the Jaguar, so that the Jaguar who protects the Amazon, the Jaguar is not prey. The Jaguar is the top of the food chain. We've had this Jaguar. I've told you stories about how this Jaguar works. And so right now, the call of the Jaguar is here to help you release what needs to be released so that you can clearly be prepared for your new story that begins in 2021. Our next card is the circle. I love our circle. Our circle is not big, but the circle is where God has called it to be, where the energies, everyone who's in this circle, everyone who is following this divine course is attaining or moving forward or advancing in these energies with ease, because although the beginning, when we started this journey, and not everyone was here, but you came along at the perfect timing for you to join the circle. And so each video, each week, each month, or sometimes every other month, because I can't always do a video. I can only do the video when the energy allows me to. I don't determine it. It determines it for me. And so when this circle is a healing circle. I have challenged or reached out or have channeled you with the energy of healing. If you have been following, each video is a layer to understanding the next video. And then some of them, because it took us a while to grasp that understanding, that's why these cards repeat. They come back because we need to make sure, so that we can move forward, that the understanding is there by us all. So when the circle comes as medicine, this card is meant to make sure we have understanding of the importance of letting go. It's like one of the videos has a child. She has her hands open like this with a red balloon being released. And when you released or when you are looking to be reborn or renew, the circle of life, nothing is wasted. Nothing. So the things that you're letting go it's not waste. It was lessons. It was, remember, we're either on life lessons or we're on life destiny. And it doesn't mean when we're on life destiny that we will never go back to having a lesson that needs to be learned. Because even when you're on destiny's path, sometimes you get stalled because there's something that needs to be revisited or relearned or just comes back around. The circle of life, you have to go back around. Remember, we talked about the elements and we talked about the four destiny of direction. So as you do that circle of life, sometimes when you come back around again, you're not coming back around to start a new cycle, but you're going back around to continue the process of learning. And so when you're learning, remember, love will seek itself again. Love outweighs hate. The journey is our next card, and an angel card of 11. And this card is so, so beautiful. It's beautiful because it's right in the circle of hands. The hands are across the chest. As they lay across the chest, that is a sign of reverence. That is a sign of humbleness. That is a sign of blessings to the heart. The journey So did we not just talk about with the circle of hands, about the circle of life and that journey to step outside of your boundaries of your life? The journey is like a calling, a timing, or opportunity, a path where, there is no signs there's no road signs saying go this way, go that way. So when you're going inside, so again, in meditation, in prayer, when you put your hands folded in reverence to your heart and you sit still and allow the destination to be divine, you see how that beautiful, beautiful owl with his wings spread wide. And if you see here, it's as if he has wings of his own. It is saying that the gift, that's how swift you will be able to bring in the love of the divine. So don't confuse the inner journey with the outer journey, the inner journey. So as we move around the circle of life, we are drawing a chart or a destiny is coming towards us. And so it's important to discover the route, because the route does not have any signs. There's no signs on the road that is going to say when you're traveling in inner to let this go, let that go. So how do you know? How do you know what to get rid of? How do you know what change that needs to happen? You know, because when you pray and when you go into spirit, when you go into your own I'm sorry, I think we've been over an hour now, but you had to go into your own your own path when it's time to go into remember I said on the 31st, if you do not know what needs to be released, like the journey, that it's a part of the journey, it's a life lesson and it's not wasted, but you let it go and you do it in reverence, not in pain or in agony or in evilness, but you allow it to fly away. So, for example, when I know that it's time or something comes in my life or someone comes in my life, I always say this prayer: Dear God, if this is not your will, if this situation is not your will, if this person is not here by your will, please let them go away, because we have free will. And that free will is, we say, I want to express my free will by continuing to hang on to something that was not for us, or not for us long term, maybe just for a season. But when the season has come up and we do not want to let go, we hold on. The pain then arrives because now we're not choosing to let go or release. We're choosing to have the will to have something in our lives that no longer has purpose, that it's now only bringing torment and destruction. That is where our free will, and that is where the life circle, the lesson continues to go around and around and around. But when we trust our God, our higher spirit, our one God, through the Spirit of Jesus and the Holy Ghost, we will know without recourse that it's time to let go, no matter how much it hurts. And it could just be that you have to let it go for a season, or it could be that the season has passed. But we have to trust. We have to trust, despite everything, that it is for our better, for the better of us all, the better for the situation, the person, the experience. It's better for us all. And then this little hummingbird can teach you to trust that inner knowing. That sweet nectar is here, guys. When you can, grow new wings like the hummingbird, you'll be just that little sweet being who can gently be that creature that is fierce as a hummingbird, and gentleness he will bring in our life, so that anything so sweetly, so beautifully, we can feel, we can touch, we can receive, we can hear, we will know, just like that beautiful, beautiful hummingbird. And I think I told you guys before, with the hummingbird, he takes his little beak, and it's like a little sword, like Cupid's sword, and he dips it into that flower and pulls out the sweetest nectar without pain to the flower. That is what you will have in your life, the sweetest nectar. When you allow the hummingbird, the spirit of God's hummingbirds, to fly into your life. It's an 8. And 8 is moving forward. It's advancement at a rapid pace. So everything in the next 2 weeks and a half will be coming at us in a rapid, fast space. Sacrifice is our last card. And it's these 4s, which is again stability. We want to say 8. It's moving fast. It's moving forward. It is happening, guys. So the card of sacrifice is to make sacred. This is a very sacred time. So make an offering of gratitude from your heart right now. The feast of love is prepared for us, guys. The feast of spirit is preparing the sacrifice for us. The sacrifices we've been making all year long. It is the most precious thing we have done in the year of 2020. We have sacrificed so much to get to, even if it wasn't our free will, that sacrifice, but we're sacrificing for this change to happen. And so spirit now, in order for spirit to bring us that heavenly feast, that divine table, that banquet that is being prepared for us, coming the end of November, which is the time of year of Thanksgiving, of copious abundance that will overflow. The sacrifices are making its way through our lives right now. So remember, whatever needs to be released, whatever needs to be sacrificed and let go and give it to Spirit. See how her hands, she has a butterfly, goes right back to Close Encounters, okay? When you release from the cage, what needs to be released, but you have to do it with love, with the abundance of the lovers. What will come back to you is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 100 gazillion times. Make the sacrifice today. Let go. Make the choice to do it yourself. And then allow faith to give you its banquet, its heavenly banquet. Because if faith, instead of giving you a banquet, if it is making the choice for you, then your banquet may not come back around for a long time. Because the next time we will have these 2 moons, we're talking about 2093. And 2093, a lot of us won't be here to experience the beauty of this time. Guys, I'm going to leave it right here. I truly am grateful that you follow and that you've been here with me on this journey. I'm grateful for your prayers. I'm grateful for your love. I will pray for you. Please pray for me. I love you. I love you. I love you. So until the next time, please meditate, pray, eat, love, and pray. Namaste.